In this video, we'll show you how to spawn to bulk and create the conditions for that elusive goal, a dense, wall-to-wall mushroom canopy. For this project, you'll need a monotub, dehydrated cocoa coir, vermiculite, and most importantly, high-quality grain spawn. Before we begin, we'll prepare a liner. This prevents mushrooms from growing in between the bulk substrate and the monotub, which makes harvesting a lot easier. Simply cut open a garbage bag and spread it over the bottom of your monotub, secure the corners with tape and trim the liner to size. In our setup, we've sized it for a substrate depth of approximately 5 centimeters. Next, it's time to prepare the bulk substrate. Take a clean, heat-resistant bucket and add 65 milliliters of vermiculite, 15 grams of dehydrated cocoa coir, and 1,500 milliliters of boiling water. Seal the bucket and allow the hot water to hydrate and pasteurize the mixture. Leave it for several hours or until it has cooled completely. Once cooled, we're ready to spawn to bulk. Mix roughly 80% of the substrate with 80% of the grain spawn, setting aside the remaining 20% of each for later. In a clean tote, thoroughly combine the substrate and grain spawn. Break apart all clumps and ensure the grains are distributed as evenly as possible throughout the mixture. Transfer the mixture into the lined monotub, taking care not to spill any material between the liner and the tub walls. Firmly compress the substrate and level the surface as evenly as possible. Taking your time here is well worth the effort. A properly prepared substrate requires very little intervention until harvest. Now, take the remaining 20% of grain spawn and break it apart into individual grains. Spread it evenly across the entire surface of the substrate. The final step is to apply the remaining 20% of the cocoa coir and vermiculite mixture. This layer contains no grain spawn and acts as a pseudo-casing layer. Apply it as thinly as possible while still completely covering the exposed grains beneath. Gently compress the surface and create a flat, uniform finish. And that's it. Your monotub is now ready to colonize. Place it in a warm location, ideally around 23 degrees Celsius. If your monotub has been designed with proper fresh air exchange, the grow will largely take care of itself from this point forward. Over the next 1 to 2 weeks, the substrate will gradually become colonized with healthy white mycelium. As colonization progresses, you'll see strands of mycelium emerging through the surface. Once the tub is fully colonized, tiny white knots known as primordia will begin to appear. These are the earliest signs that mushrooms are on their way. Within days, the first pins will emerge, and if you followed all steps correctly, they'll appear across the entire tub. A few days later, those pins can develop into a dense flush of mushrooms, creating the kind of full canopy every grower hopes to achieve. There are many ways to prepare a bulk substrate, but this method is simple, reliable, and remarkably consistent when it comes to producing even, abundant flushes. For a more detailed explanation of the process, be sure to check out our comprehensive growing guides on our website.